And it says, everyone is born a slave to sin without a choice. Sin, in the way he's talking, is a very real, personified king or an emperor, saying sin is the master, the one you follow, just like you would the emperor. Now, they live in Rome, where the emperor, who controls the land and the people and the military, he was seen almost like a god. You could pray to him just like you would a god in their minds. So he's saying, just like that emperor, we don't have anything like that, do we? We have presidents that we don't listen to and we vote out every other year, right? We're coming up on another one of those, right? We got another president we're not going to listen to. We're not going to do anything, and and they have very little actual power. We just like to politics. But this was an emperor. And so sin takes the place, the way Paul is talking, sin is taking the place of the emperor. You don't have a choice but to follow. You don't. It's death. And he says, but there's either two masters you're going to serve here. You're going to serve as a slave to sin, the master's sin, or you're going to be a slave to righteousness, because you become a slave to the one you serve. And Paul's going to say, I offer myself up to God. He says, being a slave, a servant of this personified king called sin in your life leads to death. On the other hand, if you're a slave, it leads to righteousness. I love the way he talks about that, because Paul, if we look just on the shallow surface, it's going to seem like it's the opposite. Because Paul's actually going to be killed because of his righteousness. Jesus was killed because of his righteousness. So when you just look on the outside, it's going to be like, whoa, that's the opposite. And Paul's playing on this idea. You may look like if you follow this pattern of sin, you're going to live, but it actually leads to death. And what looks like it's going to lead to death is going to lead to life. And as he talks, he doesn't say you have a choice. You're going to be a slave to something. What you serve is your choice. And I know we in America, well, I'm not a slave to nothing or no man. This is America, dang it. I don't believe in, even though slavery does exist even here in the United States. That's another service. But the reality is we all serve something. And we could be slave to things that brings life,